how to learn English alone and finally start speaking. Maybe you think you cannot learn English because you do not have a teacher. Maybe you think you need a school, an expensive course, or someone correcting every mistake. Maybe you think you need more money, more time, or more confidence. But what if that is not true? What if the real problem is not the lack of a teacher, but the lack of a daily system? Think about this for a moment. Many people study English for years. They buy books, they download apps, they watch videos, they save grammar lessons, they start courses. But after months or even years, they still feel stuck. They understand some English, they know some words, they can read simple sentences, but when it is time to speak, their mind goes blank. They feel nervous, they feel slow, they feel embarrassed, and then they say, maybe English is not for me, but that is not true. English is for you. The problem is not that you are not intelligent. The problem is not that you are too old. The problem is not that your memory is bad. And the problem is not that you do not have a teacher. The real problem is that you do not have a simple system that you can follow every day. A teacher can help you. A course can guide you. A school can give you structure, but no teacher can practice for you. No course can speak for you. No book can build your confidence for you. And no app can give you discipline if you do not decide to show up. This is the truth. Your English changes when your habits change, not when you wait for perfect conditions, not when you wait for the perfect teacher, not when you wait until you feel ready. Because many times you will not feel ready. You will feel tired, you will feel busy, you will feel afraid of making mistakes. You will think, I will start tomorrow. I will practice next week. I need to learn more grammar first. I need someone to teach me. But if you always wait, nothing changes. The day you stop waiting is the day you start improving. And this video is not here to tell you that learning English alone is easy. It is not always easy. Some days you will feel motivated. Some days you will feel lost. Some days you will understand a lot. And some days you will feel like you are starting again. That is normal. That is part of the process. But learning English alone is possible. Very possible. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to know every grammar rule. You do not need to speak fast. You do not need to sound like a native speaker. You need a clear plan. You need daily exposure. You need to use your voice. You need to repeat. You need to listen. You need to continue, even when it feels slow. Because fluency is not magic. Fluency is the result of small actions repeated every day. One sentence today, one new word today, one short conversation with yourself today, 1 minute of shadowing today, one small step today, and tomorrow you do it again. That is how English becomes part of you, not by studying once in a while, not by watching videos without practicing, not by collecting notebooks full of words you never use, but by creating a daily relationship with the language. You do not learn English only with your eyes. You learn English with your ears. You learn English with your mouth. You learn English with your memory. You learn English with your routine. And most importantly, you learn English with your decisions. Every day, you make a decision. Will I practice today? Will I listen today? Will I speak today? Will I repeat today? Will I continue today? That is why learning English alone can actually make you stronger, because it teaches you to stop depending on perfect conditions. It teaches you to stop waiting for permission. It teaches you to take control. And maybe that is exactly what you need right now. Not another excuse. Not another course that you never finish. Not another app that you open for 3 days and then forget. Maybe what you need is a simple system. A system you can use at home. A system you can use in your car. a system you can use while cooking, a system you can use before going to work, a system you can use even if you only have 30 minutes a day. In this video, I want to show you how to learn English alone and finally start speaking. Not with complicated methods, not with pressure, not with shame, but with simple steps that you can start using today. You will learn how to take responsibility for your progress, how to create an English environment around you, how to speak every day, even if you are alone, how to learn vocabulary that you can actually use, how to listen and shadow in a simple way, how to stay consistent when motivation disappears, and how to believe in yourself while you are still learning. Because you do not need to wait until your English is perfect to speak. You speak so your English can improve. That is a big difference. Many students think, first, I need to speak well. Then I will practice. But the truth is different. First, you practice. Then you speak better. First, you make mistakes. Then you learn. First, you sound slow. Then you become more natural. First, you feel nervous. Then you build confidence. So please remember this. You do not become confident before you speak. You become confident because you speak. Even if your sentences are short, even if your pronunciation is not perfect, even if you forget words, even if you need time to think, every time you try, you are training your brain. Every time you repeat, you are training your mouth. Every time you listen, you are training your ear. And every time you continue, you are proving something important to yourself. You are proving that you can learn. You are proving that you can improve. You are proving that you do not need perfect conditions to move forward. So before we start with the first step, ask yourself one honest question. Am I waiting for someone to come and save my English? Or am I ready to take control today? Because your teacher can guide you, your course can help you, your videos can inspire you. But your progress begins when you decide, I am responsible for my English. Say it slowly. I am responsible for my English. Again, I am responsible for my English. One more time, I am responsible for my English. That sentence may sound simple, but it can change the way you learn. Because when you take responsibility, you stop asking, why is English so hard? And you start asking, what can I practice today? You stop saying, I do not have a teacher. And you start saying, I can create my own daily system. You stop saying, I cannot speak. And you start saying, I can practice one sentence today. That is the beginning, not perfection, not confidence, not advanced grammar, just responsibility. A simple decision, a new mindset, a small action today. And in the next part, we will begin with the first step. Take responsibility for your English, because the moment you stop waiting, your English journey truly begins. The first step is simple but powerful. Take responsibility for your English. This does not mean you blame yourself. It means you stop waiting. You stop waiting for the perfect teacher. You stop waiting for the perfect course. You stop waiting for the perfect time. Because the perfect time almost never comes. You may be busy. You may feel tired. You may feel afraid. But even on a busy day, you can practice one sentence. Even on a tired day, you can listen for 5 minutes. Even on a difficult day, you can repeat one simple phrase. Small practice is still practice, and small practice repeated every day becomes progress. So instead of saying, I do not have a teacher, say, I can learn something today. Instead of saying, I do not have time, say, I can use 10 minutes today. Instead of saying, I am not ready, say, I can start with what I know. That is responsibility, not pressure, not perfection, just action. The second step is to create an English environment. You do not need to live in the United States. You do not need to travel to another country. You can bring English into your daily life. Change your phone to English. Watch simple videos in English. Listen to English while you clean, cook, walk, or drive. Put English words on things around your house: door, table, window, kitchen, bathroom, mirror. Every word you see becomes a small reminder. Every sound you hear becomes small training. Little by little, English stops feeling like a school subject. It starts feeling like part of your life. And that is very important, because you do not learn a language only when you sit at a desk. You learn it when you see it. You learn it when you hear it. You learn it when you use it in normal moments. Now, the third step is the one many students avoid. Speak every day, even if you are alone. Do not wait for a conversation partner. Do not wait until your English is perfect. Use your own voice today. Describe what you are doing. I am making coffee. I am opening the door. I am going to work. I am learning English. I am tired, but I will practice. These sentences are simple, but they are powerful because your mouth needs training, your brain needs speed, and your confidence needs repetition. You can also record your voice for 1 minute. Do not judge yourself. Just listen. Then try again tomorrow. At first, you may sound slow. That is okay. At first, you may forget words. That is okay. At first, you may feel uncomfortable. That is okay too. Speaking alone may feel strange in the beginning, but it works because every sentence you say is a small step away from fear. Your voice does not need permission. Your voice needs practice. Start with 1 sentence today, then 2, then 3, and slowly, English will stop living only in your mind. It will start coming out of your mouth. Now, let us talk about vocabulary. Many students try to learn too many words at the same time. They memorize long lists. They write words in notebooks. They repeat them for 1 day, and then they forget them. But vocabulary is not only about memory. Vocabulary is about use. A word becomes yours when you can use it in a real sentence. So do not try to learn 50 random words every day. Start with 5 useful words. Words you can use in your real life. Words for your work. Words for your family. Words for your routine. Words for your problems. Words for your dreams. For example, maybe you learn the word appointment. Do not just repeat appointment, appointment, appointment. Use it. I have an appointment tomorrow. I need to make an appointment. My appointment is at 3. Now the word has a place in your life. That is how you remember. Learn less, but use more. That is the secret. The next step is listening and shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to a sentence and repeat it almost immediately, like an echo. You hear, I am learning English every day. Then you repeat, I am learning English every day. You hear, I can speak a little more today. Then you repeat, I can speak a little more today. This technique is powerful because it trains many things at the same time. Your ear, your mouth, your rhythm, your pronunciation, your confidence. At the beginning, you do not need to understand every single word. You do not need to sound perfect. You only need to follow the sound. Listen, repeat, listen again, repeat again, do it slowly, do it many times. And little by little, your mouth will begin to move more naturally. Your brain will recognize common sentences faster, and English will feel less strange. This is why shadowing is not just repetition. It is training. It is like exercise for your English muscles. But here is something very important. Shadowing only works if you do it consistently. And that is the next step. Be consistent. Many people start with excitement. They study for 3 hours on Monday. Then they do nothing for the rest of the week. Then they feel guilty. Then they quit. But English does not need one perfect day. English needs small days repeated many times. 10 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes the next day. That is stronger than 4 hours once a week, because your brain learns through repetition. Your mouth learns through repetition. Your confidence grows through repetition. So create a simple routine. Do not make it complicated. Listen for 10 minutes. Repeat for 10 minutes. Learn 5 useful words. Speak alone for a few minutes. That is enough to start. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to return every day, even when you are busy, even when you feel slow, even when you make mistakes, because consistency is what turns practice into progress, and progress into confidence. And now, there is one more step that many students forget. Believe in yourself while you are still learning. Do not wait until your English is perfect to feel proud. Be proud because you are trying. Be proud because you are practicing. Be proud because you are not giving up. Your mind listens to the words you repeat every day. So be careful with the story you tell yourself. If you always say, "I cannot speak English," your mind begins to believe it. If you always say, "My English is terrible," your confidence becomes weaker. But if you say, "I am learning, I am improving, I can practice one sentence today," your mind receives a new message, a better message, a stronger message. You do not need to lie to yourself. You do not need to say, "My English is perfect." You only need to say the truth. My English is growing. And that is enough. So if you are learning alone, start with a simple plan. Do not make it complicated. Every day, practice for 30 minutes, 10 minutes listening. Listen to simple English. Listen to a story. Listen to a conversation. Listen without pressure. Then, 10 minutes repeating. Use shadowing. Listen to one sentence and repeat it again and again. Train your mouth. Train your rhythm. Train your confidence. Then, 5 minutes with vocabulary. Choose 5 useful words. Do not just memorize them. Use them in real sentences. Sentences about your life. Sentences you can say today. And finally, 5 minutes speaking alone. Talk about your day. Talk about what you are doing. Talk about what you need. Talk about what you want to learn. It does not have to be perfect. It only has to be real. This simple routine can change the way you study English. Not in one day, not in one week, but little by little, day by day, sentence by sentence, because English grows when you return to it, again and again and again. And if you want a place to practice with stories, listening, reading, repetition, and interactive exercises, I invite you to visit my website, fluentenglish10.com. There, you can practice with interactive English stories using my shadowing player. You can listen to the story, read along with the text, repeat sentences, go back to difficult parts, practice at your own speed, and use the story to improve your listening, reading, vocabulary, and speaking confidence. Some lessons also include interactive questions, explanations, progress, and an English lesson pack that you can review after practicing. The idea is simple. Do not just watch English. Practice with English. Use it. Repeat it. Understand it. Make it part of your routine. You can start with the free practice available on the website and explore the stories that help you the most. Remember, you do not need perfect conditions. You do not need to wait for someone to push you. You do not need to speak perfectly before you begin. You begin first, then you improve. You practice first. Then you become more confident. You repeat first. Then English starts to feel more natural. So today, choose one sentence. Say it out loud. Repeat it. Use your voice. because your voice is the bridge between knowing English and speaking English. And before you leave, write this sentence in the comments. I can learn English step by step. Say it, write it, believe it, and most importantly, practice it. You do not need perfect English to start speaking. You need courage, you need patience, you need consistency, and you need one small action today. Start today. Your English is not finished, your English is growing.